Donald Trump's second impeachment trial is fast approaching. Here's a quick reminder of why it's taking place, the cases both sides will make, and the potential consequences. Trump repeatedly claimed in the months leading up to the November 3rd presidential vote that the election would be stolen.
These ballots, who's sending them? Who's receiving them? Who's bringing them back? Who's signing them is massive fraud.
And following his defeat to Joe Biden, he amplified those accusations, pursuing and losing multiple court cases, but repeatedly telling his supporters he had been cheated as part of a lucrative Stop the Steal campaign that opponents have termed the Big Lie. As with most elections, there were minor irregularities, but no evidence has been presented of the levels of fraud that would come close to overturning Biden's victory. Fast forward to January 6, the day Congress was scheduled to certify the election results.
We're going to walk down, anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Minutes later, Trump supporters were inside the US Capitol, some carrying weapons, seeking to prevent the certification. 4 people died on the day and dozens were injured. 3 police officers who were at the scene lost their lives in the days after, 2 by suicide. Members of both parties were outraged and scared. It later emerged they may have been minutes from serious harm. Exactly 1 week later, 10 Republicans joined all the Democrats in the House of Representatives to impeach Trump on a single article of incitement to insurrection. The trial is expected to start in the same chamber that was overrun by rioters on January 6 on February 9. It will be overseen by Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy and run 6 days a week, though it is expected to be relatively short. The prosecution case presented by House Democrats is essentially that Trump spent months laying the groundwork to undermine the results of the election, sought to overturn them, and then incited the Capitol riot, endangering the lives of all members of Congress. Trump's defense, despite the former president's reported wish to argue the election was stolen, will focus on a fundamental and untested question. Is it constitutional to hold an impeachment trial for a former president? On January 26, 45 Republicans backed an attempt to dismiss the trial on the grounds it is unconstitutional, and some legal experts will line up to support them at the trial. Other legal scholars will back the Democrats' argument that there is some precedent, and as a former president must be held responsible for his actions, even if the alleged misconduct occurred in their final days in office. A 2/3 majority of the Senate, which has 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans, will be needed to vote to convict Trump, a high bar which looks unlikely to be reached as initial anger over the January 6 riots subsides. 17 Republicans would have to go against the former president if there are no abstentions, and the constitutionality question gives waivers a potential get-out. But if Trump is convicted, a separate vote on a simple majority could bar him from ever holding office again.